But if you want an advanced pro tip, I've got one for you here right now. What's up, y'all? My name's Sean. I go by Taylor Exchange on YouTube, and in this video I'm going to show you guys what I do to process all these clothes to make listing and taking photos much easier. I've been selling clothes on eBay for a little while now, and I do it as my full-time business, and I've learned that the faster you do things, the faster you get done with work, and the more time you have to do other things that you like to do. Now, when I go to thrift stores, I typically buy between 10 and 20 and 30 and 40 items, as many items as I can get, so I usually end up having tons and tons of items in my cart. Now, the best way to carry these items is using those blue IKEA bags. That's a pro tip. But if you want an advanced pro tip, I've got one for you here right now. These bags are from the post office. I don't know what material it is. It's almost like what you would use on like a boat cover or like a car cover, but it's super durable. It can hold way more items than the blue IKEA bags. I would say 2.5 to 3 times as many items. If you show up to the thrift store or your post office with their own post office bag, they're gonna know that you are for real, and that's what we are here at this channel. Now, this is an example of how many items it can hold, and that's only like halfway full. Once you have the items at home, the best thing to do is to take the tags off immediately and to fold them and put them on your rack or in a clear tub or even in a box, somewhere where you know it's folded and it's ready for photos. What tends to happen with resellers is they end up piling it up in the corner of their room. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about, and you don't touch it for months and months, and you just have money piling up in your house and you're not getting it listed. There are some pros and cons to like having a backstock of inventory. COVID. Things most likely won't be shutting down anytime soon, so it's good just to have a system in place so that every week you're getting the old items listed and you're giving yourself space to get new items and you continue selling and making money. The first thing I do though, like I said, was take the tags off. So you grab the shirt and you inspect it. Now, what do I mean by inspect it? You're going to look for holes, you're going to look for tears, maybe there's buttons missing that you didn't see when you're in the thrift store, and you're going to want to check the pockets. I have currently found over $150 in pockets of clothes. Now, they're typically jeans that I find those in, but nonetheless, check the pockets. I also buttoned all the buttons except the cuff buttons and the lapel buttons, and I also leave the top button unbuttoned. The reason I leave the top button unbuttoned is because I put the hanger from the top side into the shirt. I have a video about how I take photos of button-up shirts. It was mainly for like my employees whenever I was trying to hire one so they could see that video, but you'll be able to see why I do it. It goes much faster in the photo process if you have that button unbuttoned. I leave the cuff buttons unbuttoned at the bottom just because they're kind of hard to button, and I leave the lapel buttons unbuttoned because those are also kind of difficult for me to button. When you come home with like 100, 200 items and they have all these buttons, you're not going to want to spend time doing that. Another thing I don't spend time doing is taking this tab off. It's a sign that it's from a thrift store. The thing about it is you're selling used items on eBay. People pretty much have a generic idea that it is from a thrift store. I don't think it changes the value that much. Now, if it has the price tag written on it, $3.99 or $6.99, you probably want to take that off. But if it's just a colored barb, I've only had maybe 1 or 2 people in all of my time selling on eBay actually ask me, why is the barb on? Or they even laughed at it, saying like you couldn't even take the thrift store barb off, but they still ended up buying items. Once all the buttons are buttoned and the price tag is ripped off, you go ahead and fold the item and you put it on a rack. Now, I like to categorize mine on the rack, and I like to do like long sleeve button ups, short sleeve. I'll put those in the same stack, but if it's just a polo that has like the 2 or 3 buttons here, I'll put that in a separate stack. And the reason I do that is because whenever I'm pulling items, if it's the same item over and over again, you have a good comfort and a good feel for like what you're doing, as well as whenever you go to your computer and you're looking up comps, which I don't really have to look up comps on items anymore. I just sell them from items in my store because I have plenty of items, nearly 5,000 now listed, and I can usually find one that is a similar size, similar color, similar brand even. Another example of what I do with the shirts when it comes to taking the tags off, I like to stand up and do it. And the reason I say that is when you stand up, you're gonna have more speed when you're doing this task. It's a very annoying task to do, especially if you're pushing volume like myself and doing everything myself. I would like to hire this job out to somebody, but at the same time, it's what I have to do now just to continue processing the machine, which is my eBay store selling clothes. Another thing you have to look out for whenever you're selling clothes that are thrifted or from garage sales is if it has any type of smell or stains on it. Typically, items are washed before they're given to the thrift store, so a lot of times I don't end up washing these clothes. They smell almost better than my clothes sometimes, but there are times that There are deodorant marks on the sleeves, like under the arms, as well as there will be like a strong cologne smell. And then some clothes, usually from garage sales, just aren't even washed. It's like they just take them out of their dirty hamper and put them out on a table for you to buy. So with those clothes, whenever I come across them in processing, I put them in a separate pile and I make sure to just throw that in the wash. Now when it comes to stains, I like to take that straight to the spare bathroom, and I go there and I start like trying to get the stain out. I typically don't spend too much time on it unless it's like an expensive shirt. If it's a cheaper shirt, like a $15 shirt or even a $20 shirt, sometimes I just leave the stain there and I just take a photo of it. I really don't want to spend too much time washing clothes or taking stains out of clothes, but if it needs to be washed, it needs to be washed, and that's just part of the business. But if there's a stain, I typically want it to be like a $25 to $35 shirt before I spend the time to try to actually work the stain out of it. Now maybe you don't run quite as large an eBay business as I do. If you do want to get into clothes, I would suggest kind of mixing up the listings that you post. I wouldn't post just a bunch of t-shirts at one time. I would kind of mix it up with some jeans and some shorts. You could maybe even go seasonal with it, like post all of your jeans in the winter and post all of your shorts in the summer. But when it comes to the thrift stores, it's almost like the opposite. Right now in the winter time, there's a lot of shorts that people aren't picking up, so it may make sense for you to actually go buy those shorts instead of just trying to like battle the other people for the jeans, because you're not just battling other thrifters and resellers, you're battling like shoppers. All in all, the most important thing is once you get the items back from the thrift store, just take the tags off, button up the buttons, fold them nice so that the wrinkles can kind of get out of the clothes. At the end of the day, putting items on eBay, giving people the deals, and making the sale is what's most important so you can build your eBay business. I hope you enjoyed this processing video, and stay tuned for more to come. See ya. Bye.